afternoon, everyone. I am Rachel Horn, Head of Marketing and Communications at Filecoin Foundation. So today, I got my first holiday party invitation of the year. And I imagine that you all know this scene in Washington where the first question at every holiday party is, so what do you do? And I always say, hi, I'm Rachel. I've been at Filecoin Foundation now for 4 years, and it's a crypto project, and then eyes just completely glaze over. Or I get questions like, what is it good for? What does it do? And I, every year, play a little game with myself of like, how many hearts and minds can I change at these parties? And so I'm going to make my pre-2023 holiday party pitch to you all. You let me know how it goes. Okay. So what is the Filecoin Network? Is anybody in this room familiar with the Filecoin Network? Oh, good. Look at that. See, this is better than any holiday party I go to. So Filecoin is a decentralized storage network designed to store humanity's most important information. Two really important words here. It is decentralized and it is open source, meaning there is no central authority, no middleman, no company at the middle monitoring these transactions. It's entirely automatic. So Filecoin Foundation, which I represent, is just one of many organizations in this Filecoin ecosystem that's helping to support and grow this network. We support through grants and other forms of funding. We run hackathons and other developer programs. We support storage providers who are coming onto the network. So we are like your friendly cheerleaders for the network. And I think this network is really incredible. It's rivaling major, big, centralized tech platforms. So let's talk a little bit about how it works. So one thing that's important for everybody to understand is that Filecoin is a blockchain technology, but your data is not stored on the blockchain. So what happens is there are 3,000 storage provider networks around the world. These are groups that said, you know what, I have extra storage capacity, extra servers in my office or in my home or wherever, and I want to contribute that storage capacity to the Filecoin network. And so we have these 3,000 there all over the world, and then storage clients, which is anybody with large amounts of data, can choose storage providers to work with based on any number of factors. So location, you want the data closer to you. Energy consumption, you want to work with green storage providers. There's a whole program for that. Price, that's another factor that different groups represent. And you can store many, many copies of your data for the cost of storing with traditional services like AWS. And then once you make these deals, this is where the blockchain and the crypto comes into play. So there is a computer program that is automatically checking that the files are reliably stored. And if they are not, if a storage provider decides, you know what, like I'm tired of this game, I want to go do something else, or I'm going to change my business model, they are slashed, they're penalized. So there is an incentive on both ends, and this computer program is what's constantly checking that your files are secure. But most importantly and critically, there is no company in the middle. There's nobody taking a cut of the profits of data storage. And right now, as you probably all know, there are 3 or 4 companies globally that store the majority of the world's data. So we have a really exciting pathway ahead. So Filecoin is built on a technology called IPFS that I think is really cool, and so I want to tell you all about it. So everybody's familiar with HTTP, right, which is you put that into the beginning of a web address, and that is a program that tells the computer which server to go to retrieve content. And it's based on where that data is. So IPFS is a way of addressing content based on what the content is rather than where it is. And so why is that important? So I'm stealing this from somebody else, but I'll share it with you all here. There's a great analogy here of, let's say somebody tells you to go to a library and pick up a book for them. Say I tell Sandra to go to the library and pick up a book for me, and I say, Sandra, will you please go to the New York Public Library for me? Go to the 3rd floor. Go to the 5th stack on the right and the 6th shelf from the top, and the 4th book over. That's what I want. Will you pick it up for me? And Sandra, who's so lovely, goes and does this for me. And she gets to that point in the stack, and the book's not there. Or the book is there, but pages have been ripped out. Or the book that I want is War and Peace, and Sandra realizes, I am carrying War and Peace in my bag, and if you had just told me what this data was, I had it all ready for you. So IPFS is this way of addressing content based on what it is. And when you put in IPFS to call out for your data, for your hash, it can come from anywhere in the network, not from this one location. So it solves that problem of when you go, you put in a web address and you get that 404 error. And I mean, IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System. And that sounds very lofty, but we are in fact at Filecoin Foundation working with Lockheed Martin to put IPFS into space to enable interplanetary communication, so that when we make the next leap to wherever we leap to next in this universe, you won't have to come back to Earth to retrieve data and then go back out. The world will, the universe will be able to communicate with each other using IPFS. So that's the quick and dirty on how the tech works. We are storing all kinds of, people are storing all kinds of incredible data sets on the Filecoin network. This is a super rough breakdown on what's on the network now. I'm not sure if my stats are showing there because they're not showing for me here, but just some highlights. The Victor Chain Cardiac Research Institute, they're like a big group in Australia that's doing research on health. They're storing all their critical research data sets on the Filecoin network. The University of Utah is storing NASA geospatial data and climate data on the Filecoin network. This really amazing company called Generate that's doing all this genomics research, they're storing their data on the Filecoin network. One more, the Museum of Crypto Art. They're storing a whole archival copy of all of these digital artworks on the Filecoin network. So it is, every large data set, you can choose to store 3 copies on a large, AWS or Google Cloud, or you can choose to store it on this decentralized, robust, resilient network. And I don't see them as an either or. I see it at this moment as a both and. There's a really valuable case to be made for putting copies of your data on the Filecoin network and trying out this decentralized technology for yourself. So in addition to the storage providers and the storage clients, we also have thousands of developers around the world who are either they're building tools and using Filecoin for the back-end storage, or they're building tools that make it easier for you to on-ramp onto the network. So my wonderful colleague, Jacob, created a demo of something called the Capture app. Let's see if I can play it for you here. Okay, so Jacob took a photo of his mantle at home. This is an app you can download at home for free on any phone. And what you see is he took this photo, and at the top it now says that it's registering this to the blockchain, to the Numbers Protocol blockchain. This is a different blockchain than what Filecoin uses, but they are using Filecoin and IPFS on the back end for storage. So you see at the top that it's registering and that it was registered to the blockchain successfully. Then Jacob goes and he clicks on this photo that he just took, and as you scroll down, you can see all of the metadata that was captured by this photo that he took. If he wanted to, he could immediately mint that into a beautiful NFT. But also you see, if you scroll down, that this is given an IPFS hash. So Jacob's going to take that hash, he copied it to his clipboard, he's going over to his web browser, you post that in, and you can pull up the file. So what we're showing here is, this is an app that anybody can use, and you can use it for all kinds of things, but at its most basic core, every photo that you take is given an IPFS hash that then anybody can access with that hash. And why is this important? Well, it's being used not just to mint NFTs, but it's being used for citizen journalism and in these major archival efforts. So the next thing that I'll show you is a demo from a group called Starling, but Starling is using the Capture app to document war crimes testimonies all over the world. And they're doing it with this iPhone app that anybody can download. And they're going out into places. They go to Syria, they go to Ukraine, they capture testimonies. And why it's important that they're using this app and not just recording on their iPhone and then going and storing it on Filecoin is that there's this very clear chain of custody. So you know that the second that video or photo is taken, it hasn't been manipulated. And if it is, then that IPFS hash breaks and it's not accessible anymore. So here's a video I want to play from the Starling lab, and I will end with this. This is a guy named Jonathan Doughton. He is incredibly brilliant and a force of nature. He's at Stanford, and he went out to the USC Shoah Foundation, which has an archive of 55,000 genocide survivor testimonies. And he said, where are you storing them? And they said, we're storing them on a big storage provider. And Jonathan said, why don't we store a copy on Filecoin? Just just as a backup, just in case. And so they did. They put a copy on the Filecoin network successfully. They built all kinds of tools that have made it even easier to upload. And then Jonathan and his team have gone out and have made partnerships with Reuters and other news agencies. And they're all around the world capturing. They have a 3-part system: capturing, verifying, and storing data on the Filecoin network. So let's hear directly from Jonathan.
Today, a picture is worth so much more than 1,000 words. A single image can unleash an unlimited number of retweets and likes and views that surround us and propel our reality. Together, all these digital bits, they come together to form the collective memory of our civilization. And some of those memories are inspiring and effortless to preserve. But some, they ache. There are difficult memories that some would rather forget or ignore, or even deny. As everything becomes digital, what are we doing to preserve the integrity of these vulnerable memories? Memories that could be lost to time and also overwhelmed with hate.
In a time of manipulated speech and fake news and deepfakes, when you put this content out into the digital world, it is completely vulnerable. It also enables those who want to deny it a chance to manipulate it, to change it, to alter it, to retell that story.
And as a result, we have a lot of noise and misinformation, and the potential to sow confusion, hatred, and even conflict.
If you can't trust the images, the video, the audio that you're seeing, how do we agree on the facts? And if we can't agree on the facts, then we can't make decisions.
As we speak, the internet's evolving. We want to do our part to make sure that the innovations that are being developed are moving towards a good cause.
That's the challenge that motivated us to create the Starling Framework for Data Integrity. It's a joint program between the USC Shaw Foundation and the Stanford Department of Electrical Engineering. We're using the latest cryptography and decentralized web protocols to design and build tools as well as ethics that help restore trust in digital media. We've convened a wide array of academics and companies and NGOs from around the world to protect human rights and to ensure the integrity of data at each step as you capture, store, and verify human history. We're creating a new archive for the new decentralized web. All you need to do to participate is have one of these, a mobile phone.
Thank you. So that's Filecoin in action. And yes, I hope that I have changed some hearts and minds today.
Today,
Thanks.